So I got a few text messages after the last class. You were not to give us homework. I didn't know you guys liked homework. So thank you guys. And I didn't forget, amen. But I will tell you this, in teaching the Bible study, I really like to move the way God tells me. So sometimes it's not going to be the ending that you expect. Not even that I expect. Amen? So let's do the homework. Thank you, ladies, that text me to let me know. So I asked you guys from the first lesson to give me 3 things that makes you feel powerful. And so if you are here and you didn't know that, now you know. So while they're telling me, I want you to write it down so you can join in with us, all right? So is anybody ready? Give me 3 things, yes, that make you feel powerful. Other than like abusing somebody. Nafisha, stand up.
My 3 things that make me powerful is I have quiet strength. I walk away when I know I deserve better in any situation, and I go after what I want.
Yes. Next, what makes you feel powerful?
What makes me feel powerful is having confidence, being connected to God, and I'm able to use my experiences to help someone else.
Amen. That's good. You had your hand up. Cindy, I'm sorry. Stand up.
Mine is the power of forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
Able to forgive people when they've done something. Having a voice, being able to express my feelings,
Yes.
and being able to tell people I love them.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't like something that you want, being able to say that. Being a mother, raising my 2 sons, and watching them grow to be young men.
Yes.
Successful in society and be respected.
Amen. Amen. Next, and then in the back.
And I didn't write anything down. I just, my connection with God. Back to God is tremendous. From my
Mm-hmm.
back to where I come from to where I am today.
Yes.
The patience that God has given me because I always got in a situation where the owner leader was caught.
Mm-hmm.
Community park last time.
Yes.
And God has brought me right along the way. Show me that even being humble to the same person that you mistreat.
Yes.
So that every day treating them with love, kindness, and they keep coming. And God has brought me my own way. And being a foster mom,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely, be able to help someone or be there. Even if things don't turn out the way I wanted to turn out, the way I expected to turn out. Just being there in a place where parents should be. And giving a person a comfortable place or a safe place.
That's good. That's good. Letitia and then Raven.
The gift of giving, having a giving heart, of being able to affect change, and accomplishing goals.
Amen. Amen.
What makes me feel powerful is reading and understanding the Bible, having confidence in my gifts, and knowing when to hold my tongue and when to speak up.
Amen. Yes. Please stand.
Three things that make me powerful. The first one is knowing that I can. I can do anything, I can achieve whatever it is, and I can reach it no matter how high it is.
Mm-hmm.
The second one is staying humble. Just trusting God, and just knowing that I know that He is the good I am.
Mm-hmm.
And the third one is knowing when to walk away.
Yes. Yes. Next. Yes. Stand up.
What makes me powerful is knowing that no is a complete sentence. And put it be first.
Yes. Shantae, then right here.
Knowing that I absolutely positively depend on the power of the Holy Ghost in my life,
Mm-hmm.
the ability to provide for my family, and the ability to provoke and to find solutions when I step into a situation.
Yes. That's good. Right here. Right here.
My 3 powerful things that I put my infectious personality, like I can kind of feel people's vibes and sometimes turn it from negative to positive.
Next. You have to know. You should know. Here and then Kiana.
3 things that make me feel powerful is walking away from temptation, using my voice, and not standing there and down.
That's good.
Yes, that's good. Kiana?
My thinking are self-control, the ability to apply the appropriate reaction, appropriate time. My autonomy with kind of taking independence and relationships. And then
And persistence. Next. 3 things that make you feel powerful. Here and then here.
Mine is setting up, being able to set boundaries, and the power to forgive. And when I obey God, I realize that many lives are affected. And when I disobey God, I realize that many lives are affected.
Yes, that's good. Ben?
Okay, my things are helping others to achieve their goals, to help guide my grandchildren to the word of God, what's right, and then being who God has called me to.
Okay. Next. Yes.
Being able to help and being a blessing to others, raising my children, and personal growth also.
Okay. Next. Yes.
What makes me so powerful? Being able to love when it's hard. Wanting to self-love when I don't want to. No matter what no one says, it will never define me.
Yes.
The first thing that makes me feel powerful is that I can use that name, and I use it all day, every day, in the name of Jesus. Powerful is that I can speak the uncompromising word of God into a negative situation and turn
And it
around
changes.
into a great celebration. The third thing I'll say something my mom taught us growing up, and that's to win. Same thing my
Yes.
dad said, he said, "Work to prosper." She said, "Let me tell you something. When you do something, you get out there and you set out there and win. Because winners never quit. Never
Quit, winners. Good. Next. 3 things that make you feel powerful. You should know these. They're you. Yes. Go ahead. Go ahead.
First thing is knowing who my father is. Second thing is that I'm confident in knowing that I'm working on the change that I need to be.
Yes.
And third is knowing that God has a purpose in my life.
Wow. Yes. Y'all better talk to me. Come on in. Yes.
First thing that makes me powerful is my confidence that I stand by. The second thing is to find no other empowerment to think of the day that God gave me. And the third thing is to be very grateful for standing up for my family.
Yes. Yes. Come on, ladies. Yes, Melody.
The 3 things that make me feel powerful is 1, being able to talk and speak into someone's life. The second thing is teaching, because I like to see the light bulb come on. And the third thing is singing, because I like to encourage.
You said what?
Singing is number 3.
That's one of my 3. I just have to find some people to sing too. I just haven't found people to listen yet. Yes.
Even when I have fear, I continue to push through. How to forgive and really move forward. Being able to know who I am and how to lead the situation.
Yes, that's good. Next. Yes.
Okay, my 3 is number 1 is loving those that doesn't love me. And number 2 is sharing the word of God. And number 3 is stepping up when no one else does.
Yes. Kathy, stand up.
Yeah. Thank you.
And then, the last one is knowing when to be still and be quiet. Amen.
Yes, y'all just popping up now. And then Tracy. Yes.
my love for God and my compassion for others through God.
Yes, that's good. Yes.
I thought I'd stand up before you start calling me daddy. My first one is self
us to make us bounce back. And my
Somebody write that down and text it to me. Strengthen your bounce back.
and my goodness,
Text it to me.
still smile through the storm.
Yes, yes. Next.
Okay. First, knowing and believing that Jesus sent me accomplishments to show me and teach me all things. Those things that I don't know, or, you know, you send me someone that I can rely on, so I can get that from you, this here, to rely on. And, I have, 15 children that I am not the mother of, but they love me and I love them. And that just stuff, that makes me feel that even though I didn't give birth to them, they look at me as their mother. And
Yes.
it brings me together, knowing that I am not their mother, that they can feel powerful. And the last thing is, what makes me feel powerful is that my husband is lost without me.
Let's just have a moment of silence. Exodus chapter 1. I want to ask you this question. Do you have a personal mission? We are talking about women on a mission. And so tonight, I want to share with you 5 women who had a mission, who were on a mission. 5 women who were on a mission. So understand this. They weren't on a team. They weren't on a team. They weren't working together. They were just doing what their mission was. All right? So everybody in here has a mission. So you might not know it, but you need to find it. If you are feeling disconnected, if you are feeling lonely, if you are knowing that you have no purpose, you need to find your mission. Amen. So tonight we're going to share with you 5 women who had a mission, and they worked in their own mission to bring about a goal, a purpose, or the will of God for something greater. So when you think that you don't have a mission, what you are is a missing link to something that God is about to bring about or trying to bring about that's greater. So tonight I want you to look at this also. Everybody has significance. There's a book title that I read years ago, The Search for Significance. Everybody wants to have a meaning or a reason for their life. Everybody wants to be significant. If it's not for somebody else, it is for yourself, and then you become significant to others, right? But all of us have that desire. The breakdown is that we don't think we do. And so the reason that I asked you to give me 3 things that make you powerful, so many of you said, knowing that I am a child of God, knowing that God loves me, knowing that He empowers me or makes me feel powerful to be able to help somebody else, right? If all of my power were about me, what good is it, right? So tonight we're going to look at 5 women who played a major role in a greater plan that God had. And I want you to find your significance in your mission and connect. You're going to have to start connecting with other people. But let's listen to this lesson tonight from Exodus chapter 1. And we're going to go to verse 15. And then I'm going to go to chapter 2. And we're going to look at verses 1 through 10. So if someone could read for me verses 15, 16, 17, and 18, and then I'll have someone read from chapter 1 of Exodus, and then someone read verses 19 through 22. But please stand up and read so everybody can hear you. Exodus chapter 1, verses 15 through 18 first, First, and then 19 through 22.
And the king of Egypt spake to the Hebrew midwife, of which the name of the one Shiphrah, and the name of the poor. And he said, when ye do the office of midwife to the Hebrew women, and see them upon the stool, if it be a son, then ye shall kill him. But if it be a daughter, then she shall live. But the midwife feared God, and did not as the king of Egypt commanded them, but saved the men children alive.
19 through 22. 18. No, she read 18. Oh, read 18 through 22.
Okay. And the king of Egypt called for the midwives, and said unto them, why have ye done this thing, and have saved the men children alive? And the midwife said unto Pharaoh, because the Hebrew women are not as the Egyptian women, but they are lively, and they are delivered air, the midwives come in unto them. Therefore God dealt well with the midwives, and the people multiplied and waxed very mighty. And it came to pass, because the midwives feared God, that he made them houses. And Pharaoh charged all these people, saying, every son that is born ye shall cast into the river, and every daughter ye shall save alive.
Okay, let's go to chapter 2. Verses 1 through 4. Someone can read chapter 2, verses 1 through 4.
And there went a man out of the house of Levi, and took to wife a daughter of Levi. And the woman conceived and bare a son. And when she saw him, that he was a goodly child, she hid him 3 months. And when she could not longer hide him, she took for him an ark of bushrush, and dabbed it with slime and with pitch, and put the child therein. And she laid it in the flags by the river bank bridge. And his sister stood afar off to wit what would be done to him.
Let's read 5 through 10, someone, please.
Then Pharaoh's daughter went down to the Nile to bathe, and her attendants were walking along the river bank. She saw the basket among the reeds and sent her slave girl to get it. She opened it and saw the baby. He was crying, and she felt sorry for him. This is one of the Hebrew babies, she said. Then his sisters asked Pharaoh's daughter, shall I go and get one of the Hebrew women to nurse the baby for you?
To 10.
Yes, go, she answered, and the girl went and got the baby's mother. Pharaoh's daughter said to her, take this baby and nurse him for me, and I will pay you. So the woman took the baby and nursed him.
10 also.
When the child grew older, she took him to Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son. She named him Moses, saying, I drew him out of the water.
Listen, 5 women on a mission. The first 2 women were Shiphrah and Puah, who were the midwives. The Pharaoh ordered that all the male children be killed, right? Because without the male race, the race does not grow. Understand this. So here we have the children of Israel in Egypt. How did they get in Egypt? Go back to the story of Jacob. Jacob sold into slavery, became second in command. After interpreting the dreams, they said, hey, there's a man in prison. To the Pharaoh who had this dream, he said, I'll give ... Calls Joseph out. Joseph interprets his dream, makes him second in command, right? Why did he get to that point? Because he told his brothers way back when that he had a dream, and he saw them bowing down to him. Can you imagine telling your siblings that? So what they do is they sell him into slavery. The story goes on, gets accused of rape, goes to jail, interprets some dreams. Butcher and the baker, they tell the Pharaoh, one that gets out, hey, there's a guy in there interpreting dreams. Pharaoh calls him out and So now there is, and his dream was he saw 7 years of plenty and 7 years of famine. So his family shows up during the time of famine, right? He notices them in line waiting for food before they actually see him. And he is excited to see his family, not angry, not revengeful. Come on here, somebody said the power to forgive. He was happy to see them because understand this, he knew way back then that God had given him an assignment, and them selling him into slavery and him getting to this point was a part of the assignment. They were just a part of the story because God had to get him to that point. Be mindful of what you're going through that you're complaining about. And God is trying to work something greater in your life. Listen, ladies, don't miss it. Because oftentimes we take on the mentality to be the victim, and God is trying to walk you into victory, and you're missing the point. He said, I had to have your family who loves you. And some of us have said, that was my sister. I never thought they would have did me like that. That was my mother. That was my father. That was my cousin. That was my best friend. I never thought they would have done me like that. God said, I will use the person closest to you. Y'all gotta hear me tonight. He said, I will use the person closest to you that will hurt you the most, that you least expect. Because if it's somebody that you don't care about, it won't matter. So he used his brothers to sell him into slavery so that he can complete this vision of God. He sees his family. He notices them first. When they notice him, they panic. And God says, this is why I need you to walk this thing out. Stop complaining, because people know they did you wrong. People know they didn't pay you back. People know they talked about you behind your back. People know they lied on you. People know what they did. People know what they did. And at the appointed time,
That's it.
God says they're going to panic. But if you walk this thing right, he says, I'm going to elevate you. And he said the whole time I'm trying to drag you to elevation, and you're fighting me. Because some preacher lied to you and told you that elevation doesn't hurt. Some preacher lied to us and told us that we're not supposed to suffer. We're not supposed to feel bad in the process. It's a little story in the Bible about a man who took some nails. Remember him? Listen, and it didn't feel good, but do you know what he accomplished through that process of pain? So there's a process of pain that you will go through to get to what God has ordered for your life, for your next level. So here Joseph is in Egypt. His family shows up, and they get nervous because he's second in command and he has the power to destroy them. My pastor would say all the time, when you are in charge, you don't need to raise your voice. That's why I don't know why we yell at our children. We yell at our children not because they're out of control, but because we are. Because at the end of the day, little Jimmy, you gonna do what I say. So he saw them and he didn't panic because he was in charge. But more than that, he had forgiven them. And the scripture says he welcomed them in. And so something, and a thought comes to his mind. And in leadership, I share this, a threatened leader. He got threatened because they were growing. Listen, somebody. This is why you walk close to God. You don't have to fight. He was intimidated by them because they were growing and they were happy to be there. And we're telling God, God, it's uncomfortable to grow. And people are leaving my life and they don't like me and they won't talk to me. He says, just grow. And when you're in the process of growing and people are leaving your life, that's a good thing. Yeah. They started to multiply. And he said, listen, we need to do something to slow these people down. How many of you know when God has ordained something, there's nothing that anybody can do to stop it? Nobody can stop it. The scripture says, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers and wickedness in high places. Stop trying to put your hand on your hip and tell people off with your finger in their face. And just do what God tells you to do. Stop trying to fight your own battles and just do what God tells you to do. Stop trying to explain. Stop trying to defend. Stop trying to show people that you're right. Stop trying to tell people your side of the story. They went in a family. He was intimidated by their growth. He said, and we need to stop this. So he told the midwives, every male child that is born, I want you to kill them. And the midwives said, well, we have a higher calling other than you, Pharaoh. So we know you are the man on the ground, but there's somebody in heaven who has ordered some things for us. And the greater commandment is what he said, not what you said. So the scripture says, look what they did. He tells them to kill the babies, the first two women. He said, when you do the duties of a midwife for the Hebrew women and see them on the birth stools, if it is a son, then you shall kill him. But if it is a daughter, then she shall live. But the midwives feared God. And they did not do as the king of Egypt commanded them, but saved the male children alive. So he called and asked them, why have you done this thing and saved the male children? They said, because these women are having babies so fast, we can't control it. And the scripture says, therefore God dealt well with the midwives, and the people multiplied and grew very mighty. And then he blessed them because they obeyed. So look at chapter 2. Come on, modern technology. So in chapter 2, the scripture says, and a man of the house of Levi went and took as a wife a daughter of Levi. So the woman conceived and she bore a son. And when she saw that he was a beautiful child, she hid him 3 months. Why? Because he had ordered for the male children to be killed. She takes her baby, she makes a basket, right? And she puts this baby in this basket to go down the river to save him. She's the mother, is the third woman. Right? The fourth woman is his sister who took him out of the water. The fifth woman is Pharaoh's daughter who said, bring the baby to me and go find somebody to nurse the baby. The sister goes back to the mother. So here you have 5 women with 4 different assignments. You see the story? There were 5 women with 4 different missions. Now, let me look at this thing. The sole purpose of their mission, because each of them had their individual mission, she went and got the mother. 5 women, different assignments, but connected for one purpose. So let me ask you this. The sole purpose was to get this baby, keep this baby alive. They didn't know what the plan was for his life. They didn't know who he was. They didn't know how God was going to use him. They didn't know the greater picture. They were in slavery and they were enjoying it. So what happens with us, we have we have Black Lives Matter, we have all these movements, right? Things that look like they can bring us out, economically raise us and do all of these things for us. But how do you know that some of you that sit in this room are not connected to each other to change the entire system for the entire race? 5 women. Listen to me. And only one of them was free. Everybody else was a slave. And they had been in bondage for so long in Egypt that they didn't even realize that they were still in bondage. See, we've been in captivity for so long socially and financially and relationally that we don't even know. We just kind of accepted the bondage. But one thing that these ladies did that they had in common, we are in slavery, but we still have an assignment by God. So when Pharaoh said, kill the male children, they said no because God said something greater. So what we do is we get in bondage to something and we allow it to consume us. Lord Jesus. Wow. So they were in bondage physically, but mentally and spiritually they were not. See, we get in bondage emotionally, especially emotionally as women. And we lose it. We forget that we even belong to God. We get our hearts broken and we forget that God even exists. Something happens and we forget God. They were in bondage, but they were not in bondage. Listen to me. They were slaves, but they were not enslaved. We like to say it's racism. We know it is racism, but what are you going to do about it in your life every day? We like to say that because I have a reason that I'm failing in my life. There's a reason that I'm not succeeding in America as a black woman. It's called racism. So did they actually come knock on your door and tell you that you couldn't? Did somebody actually come knock on your door and say, hey, we're cutting your check today because you are black? And it's easy to make excuses for the system, come on here, rather than to find a system within the system that works. Y'all better hear me tonight. Listen, they said we're not going to obey you to kill the male children because that's not what God told us to do. The reason that we give into the system is because we haven't taken the time to hear God for the greater system. So what we do is we come to church and we believe God to make things better and we bind the devil, but we don't ask for a greater system. Because if God is doing all the work in my life, I don't need a mission of my own. Lord, I need you to bless my finances. Lord, I need you to touch my family. God, I need you to keep my children. Lord, I need you to watch over. He said, what are you going to do? And you think because you come to church and give me 2 hours on Sunday and maybe an hour during the week, you served me? So what is your personal mission? Most people come to church to be entertained. We don't come to learn to go in power. 5 women, 4 different assignments, and each of them carried out what they were supposed to do. 4 of them were slaves. What are you in bondage to and you feel like you've been so arrested and so held down by it that you cannot function in your life? Some of us are still looking back. I remember that back then. Some of us are caught up with what's behind us and we cannot go forward. God says, how do you know, just the way they got into bondage, how do you know I didn't stuff like, God wouldn't do that. But isn't this crazy? Listen to me, ladies. God wouldn't do that to me. But he can do it to you because it's not me. The Lord wouldn't take my child, but he could take hers. The Lord wouldn't take my son because I love my son, but he can take hers. See, the Lord loves me more than you, and he wouldn't take my daughter, but he would take hers. That's how we think. And so when it does happen to me, we rebuke the devil. When God says, I know the thoughts that I think towards you. I know the plans that I have for you. The steps of a good man are ordered. He didn't tell you that the steps wouldn't go to death. He didn't tell you. Listen, he didn't tell you that the steps wouldn't walk you to the graveyard sometimes. He didn't tell you that the steps wouldn't take you to a hospital sometimes. He didn't tell you that. But see, we start to believe that I'm so good, God wouldn't do that to me. But it's another little story in the Bible. When you get a chance, read it. A man named Job. And the scripture said the enemy went to heaven because he had looked around. He had looked around at everybody, and he couldn't find anybody worthy. Y'all better hear me. He couldn't find anybody worthy enough that could take the punishment he was going to inflict and still love God. He couldn't find anybody. He went down to the conference, the Christian Women's Conference, none of them. But he found nobody with an assignment. He found a lot of people who grew up in church. But he didn't find anybody that loved God so much that if he took everything from them, they would still love him. Oh, listen to me. And somebody said right now, you can't judge me because I love the Lord. But let somebody close to you die. You're going to doubt him. And the Bible clearly says, absent from the body. We don't believe that. We don't believe that. Because we say, God, why would you? The enemy said, I can't find anybody. Do you know? He said, let me go to the one that has all knowledge and that has all power. Let me go to the one that knows the very hairs on their heads. Let me go ask him if he has somebody. Because you know when we say the Lord knows my heart, let me find somebody whose heart he really knows. And he said, have you considered? So if he said considered my servant, that means he had an assignment. Can he call you a servant? Because servants do what? Serve. They what? Serve. They do what? Serve. They do what? Serve. Servants do what? Serve. He said, have you considered my servant? So if he was wrong in the earth, if he went and God mentioned your name, what would he say? What's your personal mission, ladies? What is your personal assignment? your personal assignment. The midwives had an assignment. We're not killing these babies because God told us not to. The mother had an assignment. Her job was to bring forth this baby, and she hid it because God told her to.
All right now.
And after 3 months, she took the baby and she put the baby in a basket. Right? She put the baby in the basket, and the sister went and got it because God told her to. And she took the baby to the one woman, because her daddy's not going to tell her you can't keep that baby. Y'all know daddies and daughters. And she said, go find somebody to nurse it. And look how God brought it full circle. Each of them had a personal mission to bring about the next leader that would take them out of slavery. So here we are trying to vote in a president to make us. Let me show you how deep it is and where we are. We're looking for somebody that we elect to come in and change our communities. We've had black leaders, and we've had white leaders, and we've had female leaders, and we've had male leaders, and nobody can change it. Why? Because it takes the order of God to change it. But the people who should be hearing God, who live amongst this bondage, they're not listening. See, rather than us changing the system, we're putting bars on our windows to protect us from the system. Some of us have had the system, raised in our house. Some of us, and we've accepted the bondage. But they said we're in slavery, but we're not enslaved. See, it's one thing to be in position of something. It's another thing for that position to have you. So have you given in to the mentality that this is all for us? What's your personal mission? What is your mission when you're away from church? Because that's when it matters. 5 women, 4 different assignments. What's your personal assignment? Look at this. The sole purpose was to make sure that this baby boy lived, because he was chosen by God to lead them out of Egypt before he was even born. So God knew when he chose Joseph to have the vision that Joseph would tell it to his brothers. They wouldn't accept. Joseph would go through the process he went through to go to prison to be second in command. He knew that his family would have to, remember, he gave the vision. So he knew that his family was going to have to travel to where he was, and then a new Pharaoh comes along and puts them in slavery. God knew all of it. God knew when he gave Joseph a vision that he was going to have Moses be born. But more than that, he knew the 5 women when he gave Joseph the vision. He knew the 5 women that would save his life. So take the women out of the story. If you take the women out of the story, there is no Moses. And if there is no Moses, they all die. But if you take Moses out, you lose Joshua. Can we keep going through the book? You keep losing, you lose all the people after Moses. Who have we lost? Who have we lost, ladies? Who have we lost? When he gave Joseph the vision of the 7 fat years and the 7 lean years, God had already written the plan for the 5 women to save Moses, for Moses to be at this burning bush, and for him to tell him, you need to go to Pharaoh. What are you a part of that you don't think you're a part of? But let me go back a little bit. Look at this. God has a mission for each of us that has been designed to connect to the mission of someone else to bring about something greater. So everybody in this room has an assignment by God to connect with somebody else with an assignment from God to bring about a greater assignment. is, only person has a vision is pastor. And we go and we listen to pastor's vision. And we go home fat, dumb, and happy because we don't have one. But the person that you might be sitting next to or in front of or behind, amen, might be the person that you should be connecting to bring about a greater vision. And we say stupid stuff like, well, I don't do women because women are messy. It's because you've been connecting on your own terms. You've been connecting according to your standards. You've been connecting out of your emotions. You've been connecting because y'all got the same nail polish. You've been connecting with people who accept your excuses. You've been connecting with people who like you because you need attention. You've been connecting with people because they do the same dirt you do, and then y'all come to church on Sunday. You've been connecting with the wrong people. That's why you keep getting the same things that you get. Because you are connecting with the wrong people. That's why some people's lives are moving and yours is stagnant. Look at this. All of them had an assignment, but their assignment played a role in a bigger picture. It says God has a mission for each of us that has been designed to connect to the mission of someone else to bring about something great. So stop doubting what he told you. Well, I don't know, because God told me to do it, but I got to get a grant. You don't need a grant to do what God told you. You ever read that in the scripture? Let me show you the dumb stuff that the Lord told me to start a 501c3, but I need funding. You ever read the word funding for what God told you to do in the scripture? Stop doubting. Stop second guessing the plan. This is what I've learned a long time ago. If it sounds so crazy that you don't think you can do it, that's God. Let me tell you this. If he gives you something and it sounds out of this world, you don't have the money for it. You don't know where the people going to come from. You don't know how it's going to come about. That's God. Remember the little boy with 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread? And the scripture says there were 5,000 men, not including women and children. And it looked impossible. Jesus said, go get his food. Can you see the disciples saying, now he's supposed to be the Son of God. And he can't count. Here he is, Jesus coming to save the world. He don't see that we got 5,000 men, not counting these women and children. He wants us to feed everybody. He done lost it. Sometimes the very people that walk with you can't see. Listen to me. Sometimes the people sitting on the pew with you, they can't see God after the song is over. That's why they go to sleep. Listen to me. Stop doubting the plan. Stop doubting the plan. If he told you and it seems impossible, it's not your job to concern yourself with how he is to bring about the mission. The only job that you have is to obey him. And then you say, God, thank you for the people you're connecting me to. Oh, listen to me, somebody. Thank you, God, for the people. I got to find somebody and I got to find somebody. When the Lord said, Natalie, you just go. And I told my team, this is what I can do. I can talk. And now if y'all can do something after I talk or before I talk, that's what I need. I just know I can talk. So I just started talking in my living room. I'm having a class at my house. You want to come? I'm going to serve some donuts and coffee. And so I started doing the classes at my house. For 4 years, I did the classes at my house. Because that's what I had in my house. And he said, and take your house and use these mirrors on the wall in your house. And I remember one time we didn't have any furniture. And people came in and they sat on the floor in my house. So before we had an event center and we paid for lunch and we served a meal Shantae and we had somebody sing, we sat on the floor in my house. Because God says, if I tell you to do it, I'll speak in your house personal mission. Look at this. He says stop doubting the plan. Stop second guessing the plan. Stop complaining that things aren't in your favor. They're not supposed to be. They're not supposed to be. And you know why we think they should be in our favor? Because I'm looking across the street and it looks like it's in their favor. And you don't know that they bought favor. Listen, the Lord told me a few weeks ago, he said bought stuff is not the same as learned stuff. So you know how people go buy a life and it looks like they got a good life? And you over here, you done been through hell and high water and you got a good life? But because you can go buy stuff, that don't mean, come on here, it's the same stuff. And the reason that we think we're not being favored is because we're looking at other people. Stop looking at everybody else. And then we come to church and preach and say, look at your neighbor and say, he did it for you. What he done for others. And we say it, but we don't believe it. Look at this. They were slave women and free women working together for a common goal. I don't need to know what your assignment is. I just need to do mine. I don't need to know what your assignment is. But if God sent you to me to connect with me, that means what your mission is going to work with mine. I don't need to tell you, and this is what we do, I don't need to tell you how to do your part. Let them do their part, and you do your part, and the pieces connect. 5 women. So let me ask you this. Who are you connected to? Who are you connected to? What does your circle look like? See, so you should be so connected. The people in your circle, when you know the people in your circle, when we sit down and talk, it's an assignment for something greater. Yes. I can't wait to get to my circle because I can't wait to tell them what God shared with me, but I can't wait to receive what he gave them for me. I can't wait to share with them, and I can't wait for them to share with me. What does your circle look like? If every time your circle gets together and all y'all do is have a good time, you wasted time. Altima. License plate 6F02432. Red Altima. Need to move your car. Listen, what does your circle look like, ladies? Who's in your circle? If your circle isn't about growth, if it is not about plan, if it is not about God's presence, who's in your circle? That's why y'all stuck. That's why y'all got a lot of shoes and no savings account. That's why you got a lot of stuff. That's why you look good, but you don't feel good. We got a lot of conversation about nothing. When you leave your circle, you should leave empowered. And you should leave your circle and can't wait till you get back to your circle. Your circle is your lifeline. Everybody in this circle has an assignment that's greater than themselves. And there are no weak links. Who are you connected to? And for the people that get offended that they don't fit your circle is because they're not connected to that one. They're connected to that one. And these might be lifelong friends. Listen, these might be family members. Sometimes we stay in dead places for sentimental reasons. We will sit in a dead place because our heart is there, but God's presence isn't. I'm here because I love you, but we're just here going through the motions. We're just here going through the motions, talking about what kind of sandwiches we're going to have. That's the most. We're planning another event. This one is Teddy Bears for the Lord. And we're having these events that don't do anything. They don't empower anybody. They don't draw people. What does your circle look like? Your circle needs to be people that challenge you, call you on your stuff, but push you to your purpose. their problems, want to talk about everybody's shortcomings, but don't want to talk about being better. I don't care that I don't hang out with everybody and people don't like it. I don't care. Because if you're not ready to run with me, guess what? You're not connected. You should be connected.